You know, it's a good way to tell if someone likes you, if they're willing to try again. And I must like you guys because, yeah, I'm trying again, because I did record this before. Incoherent. More incoherent than normal. Sure, could I have pieced together enough clips to make a 12-minute video where it sounded like I was making sense? Yeah, probably, but at the same time, all I want to say is these are some of my opinions on players that I guess are unpopular or maybe go against what the mainstream kind of consensus is towards these players / opinions. You see it in the title, it's pretty self-explanatory. If you disagree with me, which I'm sure a lot of people will because hence the title, Unpopular Opinions, I wouldn't really be doing my job in this video if they weren't unpopular. You get what I'm saying there? But yeah, if you disagree with me, that's perfectly fine. Let me know some of your unpopular opinions, do all of that good stuff, or drop a like in the video. It helps and it's free. But anyways, let's get into it, okay? Starting off with my first unpopular opinion, which is probably the most unpopular opinion. I believe Onyeka Okongwu is the best center from that rookie class. Yeah, I said it. I'm a big Beef Stew fan. I believe he proved a lot of people wrong, most definitely, and he does have a lot more potential than people gave him credit for, so I hope I am proven wrong because that's a win for me. But at the same time, if I'm looking at potential, no, basing it off last year, Isaiah Stewart had a much better season. I don't think Hawks fans, I don't believe anyone with a competent brain can say Isaiah Stewart did not have the best rookie season out of any big man. That's just not, it's not debatable. But if I'm looking ahead, I think Onyeka Okongwu. Maybe it's playoff bias, but what I saw in a man that could go up against Giannis and Joel Embiid in just his first season, coming off a season where he had limited minutes and limited opportunity, that defensive potential alone, I don't know if anyone else as a rookie big possesses that kind of potential, and I don't know if I've seen anyone really guard those two guys in back-to-back series or just in that kind of space of time as well as I saw Okongwu, particularly at that age. It was special. It was genuinely special to see. And he's not just a big stopper. This man has versatility. He has the intangibles that a guy like, say, James Wiseman has, but we've also seen him put it into action. The numbers, I don't care about the numbers at the end of the day. I don't care what he put up, because if I'm projecting forward, I'm looking at the glimpses, and the glimpses are there for someone that was able to go up against Giannis and Joel Embiid. And then also offensively, he's no slouch. He was really good in college, well, good in college, should I say, and he showed off some of that in the playoffs and some of it in the regular season. It's a shame he's injured, because I believe he really could have been a double-double machine. That's an exaggeration, because he still would have been a backup, but I believe he could have been more of a double-double threat and more of a consistent double-double guy this season and then heading forward. That's just my opinion. Again, fake Pistons fan, I don't care. I just think Onyeka Okongwu is really that guy, which doesn't mean Isaiah Stewart isn't also going to be that guy. I just think there's levels to it, and maybe Stewart's here and Okongwu's here. That's fine. That's fine. As long as they're both good, we're all happy, and that's all I'm going to say. Moving on to an opinion that probably, well, it might be unpopular. It is unpopular, but people might not care enough because it's about Kristaps Porzingis. Don't click off the video, please. I know it's about Kristaps Porzingis. I guess skip ahead if you really hate him that much, but hear me out. Hear me out for a second. Yes, he did absolutely nothing in the playoffs. Some of it was his fault, some of it wasn't his fault. But my opinion on him is he can actually be a second option on a really good team. Am I going to say championship team? No, I'm not getting that ahead of myself, because that would be crazy talk. I'm not putting it out of the equation, but it's too early to say that. We just need to see him healthy for a season, which is what a lot of this ties into. Can he stay healthy? Can he get enough touches? That's kind of it. Can Jason Kidd not be a terrible coach? Because if those things can happen, which are kind of big ifs, because Porzingis hasn't been healthy at any stage in his career, or maybe even his life. I'm pretty sure he was injured even heading into the draft. I could be wrong. But if those things can happen, I believe he's got second option potential. I bring it up quite often when I talk about Porzingis, but if you look back to last season, the second half of last season, once he started getting touches and post-ups and rolling to the rim, more so rolling to the rim, should I say, free throws, he was really a good player. 25 and 10, he was 30 and 10 in the bubble, and he did some of that in the playoffs. Unfortunately, he got injured. Again, I know that's kind of where it really lies, but if healthy, people have kind of gone to, oh, Porzingis is just an absolute train wreck on the floor. You should trade him for literally anything you can get back. I still think he's a good basketball player. I know, crazy crazy. I think he's still a good basketball player that needs to stay healthy, needs to get touches, and needs to be utilized in the best way possible, which is more than just 3-point shooting. If you've got a 6'3" guy on him, don't worry about getting that post up at the 18 feet mark. Get the post up 6 feet from the basket, or pick and roll and get him to catch lobs and do things that a 7'3" guy should be able to do, in addition to that 3-point shooting. And then I could see him being a second option on a really good team. Again, championship team. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Now that we've got the Porzingis thing out of the way, if you even listen to that, because it's Porzingis, why they even mention him, I don't know. People don't seem to like him or care about him. But moving on, let's talk about, I guess, Chris Middleton's segue to Brooklyn Nets, Milwaukee Bucks. I don't believe the Brooklyn Nets should be the clear-cut favorite. Is that an unpopular opinion? Isn't it? I think it's unpopular that I don't believe the Brooklyn Nets should be the clear-cut favorite, or maybe even the favorite at all, if I want to go a little bit spicy. Let's say that. I don't believe they should be the favorites to win the East, because Milwaukee Bucks, obviously coming off the championship now, all the time the biggest argument in favor of Brooklyn, which I've used before, and I still see that argument to a degree, is that they were up 2-0 against the Bucks. They nearly beat the Bucks with injuries, with Harden and Kyrie were never healthy. And if you're looking at last season, oh yeah, they would have won that series. You can't deny it. They would have won that series if it wasn't for injuries. But also, the Bucks didn't play well in those first two games by any means. They weren't doing what the Bucks should be doing against Brooklyn, and what Giannis started to do in every single game from that point onwards, where he started to absolutely dominate teams, hence against the Phoenix Suns in the finals. And that was Giannis just being dominant inside and them getting the ball to him inside, which they didn't really do in the first two games. And that was a reason for them struggling. They were inconsistent shooting wise. The Nets have a lot of talent. We all know that. But did they actually address the areas of need when it comes to defending someone like Giannis? I don't see it. Where is it? Blake Griffin? Sekou Doumbouya? A couple of Pistons guys aren't stopping Giannis. We saw that in the playoffs before. Yeah, okay. If Nick Claxton takes a leap, he's probably your best bet, but that's still not enough defense. And I guess, yeah, we can look at last year's playoffs, which everyone is going to bring up. Perfectly fine, but I just look at that and say the Bucks beat themselves in those first two games, which happens a lot in the playoffs, but also the confidence that now Giannis has in the playoffs, he's not worried about that. He knows what his game is, and he knows that works to a championship, so he's not worried about trying to jack up terrible 3-point shots. Chris Middleton, Jrue Holiday, these guys have that championship confidence, which I think plays a big part. I just wouldn't have the Brooklyn Nets being overall favorites, not even considering Kyrie, am I right? Like, yeah, okay, touchy subject, but not even considering Kyrie Irving being... Yeah, okay, moving on. Another thing that kind of segues into Giannis and Kevin Durant is I don't believe there is a clear-cut best player in the NBA. That's probably not unpopular, but I want to go a step further in terms of Kawhi Leonard, Nikola Jokic, maybe Luka Doncic, based off what he did for Slovenia. Yes, I know, Olympic Games, that's what we're bringing to the table, but based off what he did for Slovenia and those other two guys, what they've done in the playoffs and consistently, I believe they are in the mix for the best player in the world just as much as some of the other guys. I can't look at a Kawhi Leonard and see what he did in the playoffs where his team looked like they were on track to make the finals before he got injured. What's the narrative if Kawhi Leonard makes the finals and wins a championship? He's the best player in the world, right? He shouldn't have done anything to diminish what he did because he just got injured. Before then, he was absolutely dominant and on both ends of the floor when he needed to step up defensively. It wasn't all series long, but against Luka Doncic, when he needed to get clutch stops, he did just that and was efficient, was effective. Nikola Jokic, you can say the same. Offensively, is an absolute beast and an absolute engine. Advanced stats, looking at his team with and without Jamal Murray, he puts up numbers and he is the MVP for a reason. So it's hard for me to say those guys aren't in the best player in the world conversation. Coming from a Kevin Durant fan, should I have to say that? No, not really, but that's a fact. Finally, Zion Williamson. This could be bias. It is bias. Okay, it's definitely biased. That's fine. Zion Williamson is the second best young player in the league behind Luka Doncic. Yeah, I know. I don't care. But he's the second best player. Maybe not yet, should I say, heading into next season. Who else has done what he's done in his first 80 games? The answer is no one. Like, literally no one. I'm pretty sure Michael Jordan and maybe a couple of old geezers, but if we're looking at the last 20 years, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, pull up the stats. It doesn't come close. And I know there's more to basketball than stats. Yeah, of course, for sure. But if we're looking at someone who averaged 27 and 7 on 60% from the field after playing 20 games last season, being coached by Stan Van Gundy, Eric Bledsoe and Steven Adams were sharing the same court as him. He spent a lot of time with the second unit that was absolutely terrible. What else do I need to say? And then you're comparing him to guys like Donovan Mitchell and Trae Young, fantastic players. This is not slander, but they have Quinn Snyder, Nate McMillan, fantastic coaches, great teams with shooting and spacing and defense. All of that around them. They have it all sorted. It's a fantastic environment for those guys to succeed. And then you look at Zion, not so good, not so good. Everyone points to Brandon Ingram, but you got to look deeper. It's more than just having a second option. It's more so what you have in terms of spacing and coaching and everything else apart from Brandon Ingram, which they've had nothing of. I think it'll be better, but okay, that's why I think Zion Williamson, what he's done in his first 80 games has been remarkable. In my opinion, he will be the second best behind Luka Doncic. I didn't mention Jason Tatum, I know, because he's probably the main rival. He is someone that most people would have ahead of Zion and all of those guys right now. It's bias. I'm going to just put it out there. It is biased for me to say Zion Williamson, but at the same time, there are some numbers to back it up. The numbers of him putting up 27 and 7 after only playing 25 games the year before. Is it hard to argue with that? Get him a good team, get him a consistent season and a decent head coach. Luka Doncic could be in trouble, I'll just say that much. I think I've redeemed myself from the 25 minutes I spent recording and not saying a single word that was probably as coherent as after this recording, so I guess taking a second chance, I don't know what I'm saying now. Let me not get ahead of myself. Okay, have a nice day.